What if time travel is not just science fiction? What if it is already happening right now and most people just do not recognize it? Think about that for a second. We live inside what many serious researchers believe is a simulated universe, a program running on hardware we cannot even begin to imagine. And if that is true, then time is not what we think it is. Time in a simulation is not some unstoppable river flowing in one direction. Time is just a variable in the code. And variables can be changed, they can be rewound, they can be jumped forward. Here is the big question: what if time travel inside a simulation is not only possible, but is already built into the system? What if the beings who created this simulation have always had the ability to move through time the way we flip through chapters in a book? What if some of the strangest things we experience in daily life are actually the fingerprints of time travel happening around us right now? This is not a small idea. It changes everything. It changes what history means. It changes what free will means. It changes what you think your future looks like. We are not talking about Hollywood movies or comic books. We are talking about a real framework for understanding reality that is backed by physics, mathematics, and some of the sharpest minds alive today. If even a fraction of this is true, then the world is a very different place than what most people believe, and that is exactly what we are going to dig into today. If you're ready to uncover the truth behind our simulated universe, hit like and subscribe to join us on a journey through the mysteries of simulation theory. Let's get started. Let's start with what we know about simulation theory. The core idea is this: our universe may not be made of real physical matter in the way we assume. It may be a kind of incredibly advanced computer program. Think of it like the most realistic video game ever built, except you are not playing it. You are living inside it, completely unaware that the world around you is generated code. Now, physicists have actually found evidence that points in this direction. The universe follows mathematical laws with almost perfect precision. Everything in nature can be described with equations. The structure of reality at the quantum level looks less like physical stuff and more like processed information. Some researchers even argue that the pixelated nature of quantum mechanics, where particles only have defined positions when observed, is exactly what you would expect to find if reality was being rendered like a computer generating graphics only in the area where the player is currently looking. So if the universe is a simulation, what does that mean for time? In the real physical world, time moves in one direction and one direction only. You cannot go back. You cannot skip ahead. In a simulation, time is just data. It is just a number stored somewhere on a timeline, and numbers can be changed by whoever is running the program. This is where time travel stops being fantasy and starts being a logical feature of the kind of universe we actually live in. The evidence that this feature exists and may already be in use is something most people have never heard laid out clearly. That is what we are here to do today. We will go through the science, the logic, and the real-world clues that suggest time travel is not just possible in our simulated universe. It may already be happening right now in ways most of us do not recognize. We will also look at what this means for you personally and what it says about the nature of history, free will, and everything you think you know about your past and your future. Stay with us because this is about to get very interesting. Here is the core challenge with time travel as most people understand it. Physics, as we know it, says it is impossible. To go backward in time, you would need to move faster than light, and that violates everything Einstein worked out. To go forward, you could technically do it through extreme speed or gravity, but you would age differently than everyone around you, and you could never come back. These are enormous problems. They have led most mainstream scientists to say time travel is simply not on the table. But here is what changes everything. What if the rules of physics, as we know them, are not the rules of the actual universe? What if they are just the rules of the simulation? Simulation has its own internal logic, its own speed limits, its own code. And from inside the simulation, those rules look like absolute laws of nature. They look like the ceiling of what is possible. From outside the simulation, from the perspective of whoever built and runs it, those rules are just settings. They are just parameters that can be adjusted or bypassed. Think about it this way. Imagine you are inside a video game. The game has its own gravity, its own speed limits, its own time flow. From inside the game, a character cannot break those rules. But the developer sitting outside can pause it, rewind it, skip forward to any point they want. The character inside has no idea that is even possible, because from inside the game, the rules feel completely real and permanent. That is exactly the position we are in. We are the characters inside. We experience time as a one-way street, but the developer of this simulation does not experience time the same way we do. That is where time travel stops being impossible and starts being a design feature. What if some beings inside the simulation have been granted access to that feature? What if there are travelers moving through our timeline right now who know how to use the code? That would explain some things about our world that have never had a satisfying answer. Imagine you wake up one morning and you just feel like something is off. You cannot put your finger on it, but the day feels like it already happened. Feel like you have lived through this exact sequence of events before. Every conversation feels familiar. Every small detail feels like a replay. Most people call this deja vu and brush it off. What if deja vu is not a brain glitch? What if it is a seam in the simulation? A moment where the program repeated a segment of time and your consciousness caught the echo of the previous run. That is not a crazy idea when you frame it through simulation theory. If whoever runs this simulation can rewind and rerun sections of time, then those reruns would feel slightly familiar to anyone inside them, because at some level your consciousness was already there the first time through. Think about the implications of that. It means that every time you have felt deja vu, something may have actually been reset. Something in the timeline may have been revisited or corrected. You just happen to feel it. Now push this further. Think about moments in history that changed direction completely without any logical explanation. Countries that avoided catastrophic wars at the last second. Leaders who made decisions that defied all political logic. Scientists who had breakthroughs that seemed to come out of nowhere. What if some of those turning points were not luck or coincidence? What if they were interventions? What if someone with access to the timeline stepped in, adjusted something small, and the course of history shifted as a result? You would never know from inside the simulation. It would just look like events unfolded naturally, but the truth would be that the code was touched and the outcome was intentional. This is not just a thought experiment. There are documented cases of people who have reported experiences that strongly suggest they encountered something outside the normal flow of time. Now let us talk about the actual science and what it says about all of this. In quantum physics, there is something called retrocausality. It is a documented phenomenon where the future state of a particle appears to influence its past state. In other words, cause and effect can run backward under certain conditions. That is not science fiction. That is peer-reviewed physics. And it fits with the simulation model, because in a simulation, the code can run in any direction the programmer chooses. Then there is something called the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment. In this experiment, scientists found that a measurement made in the present could retroactively determine the behavior of a particle in the past. The past was changed by a present decision. This time manipulation happening in a real laboratory. Then there is the work of physicist John Wheeler, who proposed that observers are not just watching the universe, they are participating in creating it. He called it a participatory universe, the idea that consciousness interacts with the underlying structure of reality in ways that go beyond simple physics. And in a simulation, that makes perfect sense. Because consciousness in a simulation is not just a passenger, it might be one of the inputs the program is designed to respond to. All of this points to is a universe that does not work the way we were taught in school. Time is not fixed, history is not sealed, the past is not immune to change. And if our universe is a simulation, then there is a layer above us where whoever runs the program has access to all of it, past, present, and future at once. And here is what should really make you pause. If time travel is already a built-in feature of this simulation, then it has been used before. It may be being used right now. And the version of history you are living in may not be the original. It may be a corrected version. Version where someone already went back, changed something, and this is what came out the other side. So here is where we land on all of this. Time travel is not possible in the version of the universe most people believe they live in. But in a simulated universe, it is not only possible, it is a logical and expected feature of the design. Same way a video game developer can jump to any save point, whoever built this simulation can access any point in time with no effort at all. The science backs this up. Quantum retrocausality shows that cause and effect can run in reverse. The delayed choice quantum eraser experiment shows that present actions can change past outcomes. Wheeler showed us that the universe responds to observers in ways that look a lot like a program responding to user input. All of these pieces point in the same direction. Time in our universe is not locked down the way we were taught. It is flexible. And when you combine that with simulation theory, the conclusion is hard to escape. Time travel is real. May have shaped the version of history you are living in right now, the moments that seemed impossible, the turns that defied all logic, the breakthroughs that came out of nowhere. Any of those could have been the result of an edit to the timeline, a correction made by someone with access to the code. You start thinking about the world this way. You start paying attention differently. You notice the moments that feel off. You notice the déjà vu. Notice the times when events bend in directions they had no business bending. And you start asking a question you probably never asked before. Is this reality unfolding on its own? Or is someone out there moving through time right now, navigating this simulation and shaping what comes next? We want to know what you think. Have you ever experienced something that felt like a glitch in time? A moment of déjà vu so strong it stopped you cold? Or a moment in history that just never made any sense to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We genuinely read everything, and your experience might be more significant than you think. Your story could be the one that opens up the conversation even further. If you enjoyed this exploration of simulation theory, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And if you're ready for more interesting content on the simulation theory, make sure to check out our other videos. Thank you for watching.